I know. It's been 2 months since I made the first part to this series. I know, I'm a horrible YouTuber. I'm so sorry. Yes, I am aware it's been another 2 months since the last Perk Ideas video, but I just have so many series that I'm doing that I'm trying to cycle them out as evenly as possible, so I'm sorry that this one had another 2-month gap since the last episode. But welcome back to Perk Ideas, where I take your guys' ideas from the comment section and put them in my video. So if you have any perk ideas for DBD and you want them to get featured in my next episode, feel free to go comment them down below. You guys have been coming up with some absolutely insane perk ideas, and I'm so excited to showcase the ones we have today, because there are some really unique ones, including a Scourge Hook perk and a Boon perk, so look out for that. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to drop a like and subscribe if you're new. Let's try to get to 4,500 likes on this video and I will make another episode. Also, I just did a massive overhaul of my Discord server and added a ton of games for you guys to play and did all sorts of stuff. So if you want to talk to me, ask me any questions, play some games, maybe find new friends to play DBD with, come join. The link is in the description. All right, the first perk idea on our list is going to Hex Predator's Embrace. So of course, this is a Hex perk. Begin the trial with the undetectable status effect until a survivor loses a health state by any means. At this point, and for as long as the Hex remains, you will lose or gain the undetectable status effect every 20 seconds. So basically, you're undetectable until you hit your first survivor, right? So every single killer will essentially be stealth from the beginning of the game. But then once you hit someone, you lose the undetectable, but 20 seconds later, you will get it back for another 20 seconds. Does that make sense? So it's just going to keep cycling on and off every 20 seconds. And it's going to be so confusing for the survivors that I just feel like this would be a really fun perk. I don't necessarily think that this would be too good. However, if you're able to get close to survivors while you're stealth, this would get you a lot of surprise hits that you might not have been able to get otherwise. Plus, the addition of the new Onryo killer that's coming out on Tuesday, so she'll already be out when you guys are watching this video. She introduces a lot of like actually scary elements into this game, and I think they need more like this. They need more scary things in this game, and I feel like this perk would definitely help with that. The next perk is called Echolocation, and this is a survivor perk. Echolocation expands the killer's terror radius for you by 8 meters, and any terror radius based perks may be used and will work in the extra distance. So this is a very finicky perk, and I don't know if this would be too overpowered or too underpowered, but it's essentially monitor and abuse flipped on its head, right? So you get to hear when the killer is coming to you earlier, so you can use this with terror radius perks such as like Stakeout, for example, even though that's kind of trash, or you can even use it for those challenges where you have to hide within the killer's terror radius without being chased. I think this will be really helpful in very niche situations. Oh my god, I just thought of an even better idea. Okay, echolocation still expands your terror radius by 8 meters, but the terror radius is now directional audio instead of global audio when you're outside of chase. So now, oh my god, I love this idea. So now you can basically keep track of where the killer is when you're outside of chase by using their directional audio. I love this. I still don't know if this would be good though. Like, I think it'd be pretty good in some situations, but I'm not sure. Go in the comments and put a 1 if you think this perk would be good, or a 2 if you think this perk would be bad, or a 3 if you think this perk would be mediocre. All right, the next perk on our list is called Hidden Rage, and this is a killer perk. Each time a generator is completed, gain the undetectable status effect for 35 seconds, and the auras of any survivors working on a generator is revealed to you for 10 seconds. So this is kind of a mix between like Tinkerer and Bitter Murmur. Unlike Tinkerer, this activates after a gen is completed, so it's basically giving you a buff every time you lose a gen. And then unlike Bitter Murmur, this shows you the aura of every single survivor on the map if they're working on a gen. Like if they're physically working on the gen, then you'll be able to see them. So this would be a really cool way to make a bunch of unique plays during the middle of your game, because you can take advantage of this undetectable and find survivors really easily. And of course, I like it just because it has the undetectable status effect, and I think this is one of the most fun status effects in the game because it's actually like a scary thing, and DBD needs to become a horror game again. Okay, the next perk on our list is called Restoration, and this is a survivor perk. While working on a generator, Restoration activates. Every time you hit a good skill check, your item refills 5% of its charges, and every time you hit a great skill check, your item refills 10% of its charges. Missing a skill check will make you lose 20% of your item's charges. So obviously this is meant to be a perk that will help you get more charges in your item, and it can even bring your item back to life. So like, let's say you have a styptic agent on your medkit and you accidentally use all of your medkit so you can't take advantage of that styptic agent. If you had this perk on and hit a great skill check, then you have enough medkit charges to use your styptic agent. So I think it'd be good in that sense. And I also think it'd be good just in the fact that like you just literally be able to get more uses out of your stuff. It's like a lazy built to last because you don't really have to go out of your way to go to a locker. However, because you don't have to go out of your way, the numbers are much smaller than built to last. I don't know if these numbers are too weak or too strong, but I was thinking they should stay on the weaker side because items can be very good depending on which item you have. So I wouldn't want it to get like a 20% boost to its charges just by hitting a single good skill check or something. However, I think 10% is good for a great skill check because if you're able to hit a great skill check, I think you should be rewarded for that. So I think it's a good risk reward perk. Okay, the next perk on our list is a little more complicated, and this is called Scourge Hook False Obsession. So yes, this is a Scourge Hook perk, which means that there are 4 random hooks on the map that turn into Scourge hooks, which are highlighted in a different color. And if you hook a survivor on one of those 4 hooks, the perk activates. So with this perk, you're saving your obsession for last. Each time you hook a non-obsession survivor on a Scourge hook, gain a token. Also note that all of these effects that I'm about to list do not stack on top of each other. It's just their individual thing. At 1 token, the obsession is afflicted with the blindness status effect. At 2 tokens, the obsession is afflicted with the oblivious status effect. At 3 tokens, the obsession's aura is revealed to you for 10 seconds. At 4 tokens, the obsession becomes exposed for 30 seconds. At 5 tokens, all survivors' auras are revealed for 10 seconds. And at 6 tokens, all survivors become exposed for 30 seconds. I don't know how well balanced this perk would be, but I just wanted to throw the idea out there, and then the numbers and effects could change. But basically, it's a Scorch Hook perk where you try to avoid the obsession, and by avoiding hooking the obsession, you start to become stronger and stronger. But because it gives the obsession negative effects, it's going to be easier to kill the obsession. There is another rule on this perk where every time you hook the obsession, you lose 2 of your tokens. So there's kind of a risk reward thing going on with this perk where it's going to be way easier to kill the obsession with this perk on because, for example, at 4 tokens, they'll become exposed, but you'll lose 2 of those tokens by hooking the obsession. So you'll have to decide whether that's worth it or whether it's worth it to ignore them and go for the all survivors becoming exposed. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I feel like this perk is one of the highest risk reward perks in the game. And honestly, you could probably change the 6 tokens from 30 seconds of exposed for all survivors to 60 seconds of exposed to make it more worth it to go for the 6 tokens. All right, the next perk on our list is called All Seeing Eyes, and this is going to be a controversial one. Increases your field of view by 10 degrees. Hear me out. Higher FOV looks so clean, literally so clean. And I think that 10 degrees isn't enough to be terrible. These are just placeholder numbers because I don't know what 10 degrees extra would look like in game, but I think having a perk just like Shadowborn, but for Survivor would be cool. I know that this is really controversial because of all the stretch res stuff, but if they make this a perk, then people would have to give up, you know, a borrow time or an Iron Will or a boon Circle of Healing. They'd have to give up one of their good perk slots for an FOV increase, and FOV really doesn't actually help you all that much in the game. So obviously we can mess around with the values of this perk, but I'd want it to be enough that it's actually noticeable, but not enough to where it's really good. Does that make sense? I just want an FOV slider so badly. Literally on every single one of my games, I turn my FOV to the max that it can go because I just think it looks way nicer. All right, the next perk on our list is called Vanishing Act, and this is also a survivor perk. After hiding in a locker for 8 seconds, press the active ability button to teleport you to any random locker that is at least 8 meters away. After teleporting, your aura is revealed for 10 seconds once you exit the locker. Vanishing Act causes the exhausted status effect for 40 seconds. I think this is a really cool idea because if you manage to get in a locker without the killer noticing for 8 seconds, I think you should be rewarded by getting out of the situation entirely. Plus, you could also use this for some really cool plays to where you can get to an exit gate quicker, or you can get to, you know, a boon totem quicker, or you can get to the last generator quicker, or something like that. I don't know if you guys have played Black Ops 3 Zombies, but you know that Anywhere But Here Gobblegum that teleports you to anywhere on the map? It's basically that, but in this game. I just feel like it can be a really good time saver or a really good way to lose the killer if you're able to successfully get that 8 seconds in the locker. Okay, the next perk on our list is called Empathic Connection, and this is also a survivor perk. I'm sorry that we have so many survivor perks on this list. They were just awesome, so I had to put them in this video. Okay, Empathic Connection. Each time you lose a health state, any survivor that is healing, sabotaging, mending, recovering, blessing, cleansing, or opening an exit gate will gain a 40% boost to their progress bar, and this perk has a cooldown of 60 seconds. So basically, for any action that does not involve generators, you get almost half of the progress bar filled if you're doing one of these actions while the person with this perk gets hit. Does that make sense? So let's say there's a Dwight with empathic connection on, and you are cleansing a hex totem, but it just started. If the Dwight gets hit, your hex totem progress bar is just going to jump up by 40%, making it way faster to actually cleanse that totem. I think the effects of this will be really subtle, but I can see it being really useful in some situations. For example, a situation that comes to mind could be like if you're running to the exit gate and there's a survivor working on it, but they're only halfway there. If you're running to it, you can take the hit. They'll get 40% of that exit gate progress completed almost instantly, and they may have the exit gate opened in time for you to escape. It would also help healing faster too, which can obviously help you be more aggressive in certain situations. And honestly, I think we could remove the cooldown of this perk and it would still be fair. Let's get rid of the cooldown of this perk and have it so that every time you are hit with this perk on, it gives that 40% boost to any other survivors. But I also want it to work so that if you're doing one of these actions and you get hit, it also gives you that 40% boost. So for example, if you're on the exit gate and it's only 70% done when the killer hits you, as long as you're on the exit gate when the killer hits you, it'll finish the exit gate completely. Or if you're cleansing a hex totem and the killer hits you, then you get a 40% boost to that hex progression. So if you're above 60% when you're hit, then it'll instantly cleanse that totem. This sounds really overpowered, but if you think about it, if the killer just gets close to you, they can grab you and not trigger this perk at all. So technically this can only be triggered if the killer doesn't know that they can grab you off of these things. And the last perk on this list, which is a boon perk, I'm so excited for this one because boon perks are a scary thing, but it is called Boon Optical Observation. And this is also a survivor perk. Any survivor in the radius of Boon Optical Observation can see the auras of the following items: chests, basement hooks, exit gates, totems, all other survivors, and generators. The repair progression of the generators can also be determined by the intensity of their auras. And if you're in the radius of the boon totem, all other survivors will be able to see your aura. So this basically combines every single information perk you have on survivor into a boon totem. So it's basically just a wall hack boon. You're going to be able to see everything on the map and gather a lot of information, which will be really, really helpful. It'll also help to get rid of hex perks or just to see where other survivors are on the map, especially if you're in the boon's radius, like while you're working on a gen or something. That's going to wrap it up for today's video, but don't leave just yet. If you got to this point, go put a strawberry emoji down in the comment section so I know who my amazing viewers are. And if you enjoyed it and want to see more, feel free to drop a like and subscribe if you're new. Again, let's try to hit that like goal of 4,500 likes if you want to see another Perk Ideas video. And come swing by my Twitch. I stream every Tuesday at 1 p.m. PST. Anyway, guys, I think that's all I have for you today, so I will see you all in the next one. Peace.